United Lutheran Seminary presents the Seminary Explores podcast, conversations on faith, art, people, politics, theology, life, and more, with voices from around the corner and around the globe.
Good day. Welcome to the Seminary Explores. I'm Strobert, and my guest today is Dave Crowner, Professor Emeritus of German from Gettysburg College. And we're going to talk about, I hope, some of his involvement in the past few years that in some ways goes against, or not against, but it adds to his professional life. From my understanding, Dave, I heard that you were involved or got involved in the March on Washington in 1963. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. You got it. Uh-huh.
Okay. And now my curiosity is, how is it that you became involved in the march and that movement?
Well, that's a good question. Interesting story. I had graduated from Pacific Lutheran College, now Pacific Lutheran University, out in Tacoma, Washington.
Oh, yeah.
And had gone to a German summer school immediately after that, where I met Pat. And she had one more year to study at the University of Illinois. And then we got married. And upon getting married, we moved directly to Rutgers at New Brunswick, New Jersey, where I was in graduate school. I'd finished 1 year there. And so since we were married and we looked for married student housing, we ended up at a little apartment in the graduate student housing next door to the Marchands. The husband is Jacques Marchand. He was affiliated with the Rutgers chapter of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
And he was also involved in the student chapter of the Congress of Racial Equality, or CORE.
Right, yeah.
And Jacques made it clear to me that I would be more or less, very welcome to join those two groups and be involved. And so I did. I got affiliated with SNCC and with CORE.
Well, both groups.
Yeah. Well, on August 28th, I, along with many other Rutgers students who were in these organizations, boarded a bus, and we traveled down to Washington, D.C. for the March on Washington. That's kind of the background how I happened to get involved. Okay. Now, at that point, having come from the West Coast and Pat in Illinois, we had not been to Washington, D.C., so this was a brand new experience for me.
Right.
So the bus parked, and we walked through a huge crowd to the mall, and then we made our way up towards the Lincoln Memorial, where the stage was set for the people who were in the program. And I found out later there were more than 200,000 people present. It was a huge crowd.
I remember watching that on television.
Yeah. Well, luckily, I ended up with some of the other students near the front, standing at the right-hand side of the stage, facing the stage. Facing Martin Luther King. And as a result, I could hear everything he said. And I came away feeling it was something special, but at the time I would never have guessed that the March on Washington and King's unforgettable words,
right,
I had a dream, would be so historic. In any case, looking back on it, though, the event was extremely peaceful. There was absolutely no violence, no problems at all. People were very calm, and it was just a wonderful, peaceful event. And looking back on that now, I'm so glad for all of that.
Right. And when you say it was a peaceful march, and that in our times, we're just hearing more and more with these demonstrations that there more chaos and violence that takes place. And this is in contrast to what you experienced in 1963.
Oh, totally. Yeah, very much so. And I think some of that had to do with the background and with Martin Luther King and the tremendous stress on nonviolent protests.
That's very true. Yeah.
That had started in the South. So people were just kind of accustomed to that you would have peaceful demonstrations.
Now, I want to ask, were you given, the group given an orientation to the march, or in preparation for the march, or told how to behave once you arrived in Washington?
I don't recall, and if we did, it didn't wasn't much of a orientation. No.
Oh, okay. And with so many people, you met lots of other people, and probably a number of college students as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's true. Not only from Rutgers, but from all around. Yeah. It was a huge crowd. Yeah.
Oh, when you think about that time, was that a catalyst for your further involvement in social issues in the United States, or in the communities in which you lived?
I think it played an important role. Whether or not, to use your word, a catalyst, I'm not sure. I was already involved in social issues, the anti-war movement, anti-Vietnam.
Oh, okay.
And just going back further, when I went to Pacific Lutheran, I then became editor of the newspaper there. And so I was one of the leaders of a group who protested against the annual minstrel show, where the white students there, dressed up in blackface and put on a show. And the administration canceled it from then on. They never had it again. Now, I don't know where I developed a sense of racial justice for that.
Okay.
But in any case, it goes back, prior to the time I was at Rutgers and prior to the March on Washington. Yeah. Okay.
So the march came sort of like in the middle, of your involvement or your involvement in social issues. That it had been a part of your life already.
Yeah, I think yes. Yeah, that's
okay.
right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and from that time, how did that play into your further involvement after the March on Washington? Do you see it changing you or reinforcing what had already been? And if so, what was the next step in your involvement in social action?
Well, I think it did reinforce my involvement. And the next specific action was 8 months later, in April 1964, a group of us from Rutgers, students, people active in SNCC and CORE, we joined other groups who were in SNCC and CORE, other students, and we went to the World's Fair that was being held on the Flushing Meadow Fairgrounds in Queens, New York.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And we were part of a protest held on April 22nd, 1964. So you remember way back then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And what was the nature, or what was the goal or the objective of this demonstration?
Okay, the objective was to demonstrate for civil rights and for the Voting Rights Act, and the particular thing that was in the middle of this is that the big event was a program at which President Lyndon Johnson spoke. And there were about 700 of us from around the country who met there to stage this protest. We raised banners and chanted slogans for the passage of the Civil Rights Act.
Okay.
And while we were doing that, the TV cameras turned our way and the press turned away from President Johnson to the hundreds of students, black and white, who were taking a stand and interrupting his speech. So,
okay.
Now it was a very peaceful protest, this demonstration. About the worst thing we did was interrupt his speech. But in the end, 300 of us, about 300 of us were jailed on Long Island, including me. And I had to spend about 24 hours in jail.
Oh, my.
I was very nice to the police and so on, so there was no big trouble. And I'm proud that one of my cellmates was James Farmer.
Oh, my.
A founding member of CORE.
Yes.
So that was a very special time for me. And all of this finished in a good way in that on July 2nd. So we demonstrated April 22nd. So May, June, July 2nd, 1964, President Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act into law.
Oh, yeah. A very memorable occasion in time. I recall the newspaper clippings from that signing.
Oh, is that right? No, I don't have those.
But I remember in my mind,
Okay, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay. In your involvement over the years, certainly the March on Washington and this demonstration and your being jailed certainly comes to mind or is prominent in your mind. Are there other instances over these years that have made an impression on you or helped you to again to reaffirm your belief in humanity and the rights of all human beings? Are there any other significant instances that you can recall?
Oh yeah, I could go on and on. One of them is that at the college I became the faculty director of the student service learning program.
Oh yes,
I was director of that for 10 years. And as that was involved in getting the students engaged with people in all sorts of situations, from the San Carlos Indian Reservation out west to Peru to all over. And one of the events you were asking that really sticks in my mind is I went with a group of students down to Sandtown on the edge of Baltimore.
Oh, okay. I don't know it.
We met with young people there and did a little bit of service at a school there and learned about all their difficulties, the situation they live in. Mm-hmm. And that had a big impression on me. Just finding out firsthand, kind of eye to eye, the difficult circumstances in which people like that live and how they try to cope, Right. Very, very different from the college community and the social settings in which our college students are involved. Oh yeah, you're exactly right. We had a group come up from Sandown to the college to do a tour. And I remember I felt like, wow, this is like taking them to the moon.
Yeah, out of their worldview.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah. As you reflect again, what might you say to young people who might be skeptical about the value of such involvement as marches, demonstrations, and immersion experiences that might open their worldview?
That's a great question. It reminds me of a book I bought a long time ago when I was involved with service learning, and it's called Leading is Serving.
Oh.
And one of the points that the author makes is that to be a good leader, you have to serve. And to serve, and this is kind of answers your question, Ray, to serve is to listen. That one of the key ways, one of the key elements to knowing what to do and where to move forward and so on is to listen to people. And so what I would tell young people is, how about getting in a situation where you can listen to some of these people, the kids or elderly or whomever,
right,
and find out about them, about their lives, and then you might have some sense of what your place is. That's powerful.
That's powerful, and it seems to me that we're not doing a lot of listening these days. That we're like silos, isolated individuals, and not listening to the other and the concerns of the other.
Yeah, and I suppose part of it's just the technology, which is not the kids' fault, but they're doing their video things and their cell phones and watching movies on TV and so on, and that's not a lot of the kind of listening I'm thinking about.
Right. And as you listen now or read now, or as you peruse the newspapers, what are the issues that seem to jump out to you as someone who has this different or global view of the world? Are there issues that are jumping out at you at this time?
Yeah, that again, you've hit a nail on the head. One of the issues that jumps out at me, given the news and so on that we get every day, is I think that we in the United States have to have more experience with the world at large.
Okay.
When during the political campaign recently, people talked about America as the greatest country in the world, I kept thinking about, wait a minute. I can give you examples about a country in the world that has a fantastic, kind of a situation.
Right, right.
Much better than ours. We just need to know more about other countries. And I started to write a letter to the Today Show about that a while back, and I have to finish it still to say, why don't you put on a 5-minute segment every now and then about another country? And there's so many countries that people don't even know exist.
That's right.
And it wouldn't have to be political or contentious. It could just be about their culture, about their food, who knows what, just to give us some picture of what other countries are like.
Yeah. And especially, we mentioned before, technology, we are able to even go to these places or show these places around the world to help inform our people.
You're right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm lucky that in my background, having taught German and gone to Germany, and lived there with Pat and the kids for a year and a half, this really kind of cemented my interest in other countries. And we've been to Tanzania and Peru and El Salvador, all over the place. So I'm a little prejudiced.
Right. Well, I think, I think there's something about traveling that really makes you confront your own values, but also look at the values that exist in other parts of the world.
Yes, you're right. And I was thinking, you asked the question about my interest in other things and
yes.
what other people could do. And one of my answers I've always thought of when these politicians get on TV and so on is, I would love to say, tell me about your childhood.
Now that's interesting.
I thought it would be good for particularly young people to say, think back, what's your childhood been like? What have been important influences on you? Because I think that's important. And not to go into a lot of detail, but my dad was a Lutheran pastor, and my wife, of course, did a lot of work with him. And this is in Southern California, where he even helped establish a Lutheran church for the Mexicans living there.
Oh, really? Okay.
And he would go to the church occasionally and do services, and I would go along. So I had contact with the Mexicans there. I never, ever had any sense about, prejudices and so on. That's just the way life was.
Okay, yeah.
And if somebody said, tell about your child, I could say, well, my folks were kind to everybody. They worked with the Mexicans, and that's a part of my background. And I'm sure that helped shape me.
Well, very much so. And what you're saying is that parents can influence the worldview of their children by exposing them to the varieties of experiences or the varieties of people who live within these United States and abroad.
Oh, that's for sure.
And go on.
Oh, I just one tiny little anecdote. When Pat and I moved to Gettysburg in the summer of 1967, I went over and volunteered for Head Start. This is the summer of 1967.
Oh, okay.
So one of my first students had nothing to do with Gettysburg College. It was Eric Nutter.
Oh, my.
Of the Nutter family. And he was there as a kid in Head Start. And I'll always remember that. And so does Pat. So here's this little black kid, one of my first contacts in Gettysburg. And it's always stuck in my mind. Yeah.
Oh, that's marvelous. That's marvelous. I can't believe our time is almost up. And any parting, any words of encouragement that you might have for our listening audience about social engagement and ministry?
I just think it's extremely important not to sit on the sidelines, but to choose an issue that's extremely important,
yes,
and that's important to you, and get involved, even in a slight way, because every little bit that we can do helps.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Well, I want to thank you for sharing your insights into your experiences from the March on Washington to life in Gettysburg and around the world. You've contributed to our community, and it's always a joy to hear about those experiences.
Well, thank you, Nelson. It's been fun, very interesting.
Right. My guest today has been Dave Crowner, Professor Emeritus of German from Gettysburg College, and we've been talking about social engagement from the March on Washington in 1963 to the present time. For the Seminary Explorers, this is Nelson Strobert. Have a good day.
You have been listening to The Seminary Explorers, a production of United Lutheran Seminary with campuses in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We invite you to visit our website at unitedlutheranseminary.edu. Opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of United Lutheran Seminary or the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America.